Oklahoma, Texas, making the decision and announcing that they would officially be planning to leave the Big 12 for the SEC. Now, this doesn't happen overnight. We know that they've, at this point, said they're going to stay through the 2024-2025 term. They could leave early. They'd face huge fines if that were the case. But Bruce, I want to start with you here on what you're hearing, how this impacts the Big 12 as a whole, and just how it impacts the teams really on the field as well this season. What do you anticipate?
Well, Jenny, it's going to be a big scramble right now, because I think if you're for lack of a better term, the leftovers of the Big 12, I think they're figuring out, okay, what are our options right now? Just the other day, we had reported that the ACC, the Big 10 and the Pac-12 have been in discussions about a possible alliance. Now, obviously, the other schools who are left in the Big 12, they're not part of those kinds of discussions. And I think that really puts them out on an island. And that is an unfortunate spot. Now, on the field, I think what you'll see a lot of is, I mean, look, if horns down had become a big deal in the Big 12, this feeling of, hey, you guys are leaving us for bigger money, and how it unfolded, I think that little sniping is gonna come up at times. I mean, will the players sit there and acknowledge it? I mean, you know, for a bunch of players, I think they're just knowing who they're going to play on Saturday. I don't think they're going to be worried about if this doesn't happen for another 2 years. You know, a bunch of them are not going to be playing Texas and OU as their SEC opponents. I think they're focused on the now. And so right now, I think you'll see some sniping a little bit, you know, maybe a coach here or there. I think we can all guess on who maybe that coach or two might be, who may kind of grouse a little bit about it. But for the most part, I think it'll strictly be kind of off the field stuff that a lot of people talk about, maybe more so than the players actually do.
I agree, Bruce. Media talks, fans cheer, players play, coaches coach. Once you get on the field, it's going to be business as usual. And someone even asked me, you think the officials will have a kind of all of a sudden become biased against OU and Texas? I don't see that happening. All those officials are very professional people, do things with integrity, do things right. So I think when matter of being on the field, I don't think it's going to matter one bit. It's still going to be business as usual. That's my opinion.
Yeah, guys, I agree with you. I'll take it a step further, though. You know, obviously, I agree with you on the field because players are narrowly focused, right? And they're somewhat young. They're trying to win this season. This decision doesn't affect this season. I think where it will affect the season to some degree is I feel like we might be underestimating the animus for these schools amidst this decision for the environment. When these teams go on the road, they will be met with a venom that they have never seen before. And these are schools that deal with this normally, right? I mean, these are the targets. OU has the biggest target on their back in the conference because they've been the most successful team in the conference, 13 Big 12 titles in league history, 6 in a row. I mean, they are the top dog. Everyone targets them. Texas is Texas. Everybody dislikes Texas for whatever reason within the conference. They're too powerful. They're too valuable, so on and so forth. But this animus is going to be different. And the reason is because it's an existential animus for the rest of these schools. Because of the alliance that Bruce talked about, what is becoming abundantly clear for everybody else in the Big 12, those 8 schools are going to be left out. And that animus is going to be absolutely palpable when it comes to an environment in those stadiums. And I don't think that should be underestimated by either Steve Sarkisian or Lincoln Riley in prepping and preparing their teams to go on the road and play within the league. I think it helps Oklahoma that their toughest game by far, outside of Red River, obviously, is going to be at home against Iowa State. That's going to help them immensely. And then the last thing I would say is the other environment that this is going to play out is on the recruiting trail. Won't affect the field this season, but these 8 schools are going to get decimated on the recruiting trail while Oklahoma and Texas are going to start reaping the benefits of this potential move going forward. It's going to be very difficult for these schools, these 8 other programs and these head coaches to recruit at a high level with this on the horizon. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.